All right, what's up, everybody? How's everyone doing? How's everyone feeling after pretty awesome trading day here today? Good evening. Everyone feeling good? All right, beautiful. So let's kick things off here. Who's got the first question that we want to fire through? Anything that we can, yeah, kick things off with? Let's get going. That sounds beautiful. At first, like cut of grass, the smell. Oh, who's got the first question? I'll pass, Kath. Hire someone. That's the move. Yeah, John, let's hear. Nice. Well, welcome back. Where were you? Where'd you go traveling? Yeah, of course. Yeah. Oh, amazing. What's your question? While we wait, let's get a couple more stacked up here. Try to fire through at least 10. All right. So I watched the earlier recordings and saw the text chats, but later sessions don't show the text chats. So I'm honestly not quite sure how long YouTube stores those chats for. I try to do my best to say the question out loud before I answer it in each of those videos to kind of mitigate that. So hopefully it's not too much of a pain in the butt. Um, yeah, unfortunately I can't. I'm not sure if YouTube holds them for too long. So there might be a feature on your video where you can like toggle on or off to show the chat replay. There might be an up like that might not be ticked off somewhere where it needs to be. That'll probably be the thing to look out for. But unfortunately, that's going to be a YouTube based setting, not something on my end. Hey Brent, so your question, I didn't fully understand what you mentioned for your trade today. There was something about reversal candle. I didn't understand what made you think of that or why you were interested in that. So great question. And I mean, this is the perfect. So if I was gonna just replay my chart, so what made me think of reversal? Right, it's effectively this candle, right? So what this candle here at 9:48 tells me is that we had a breakout, right? So we saw bulls make a move from the open to that time of day, right? We've already been up about 100 points, we'll call it, right? Reasonably. So that's a pretty decent sized move when we had trending markets to the downside, right? In our pre-market prep. So we had a big gap down. So we've got, bullish move here to the upside. It's starting to maybe run out of a little bit of steam, right? We can see that on this candle, then the subsequent lack of breakout, and then the really low volume here at 946. What made me then confident, right, that it was a reversal was twofold. So, one, we made a breakout above high of day, and we clearly saw that we weren't able to hold above 27,242, right? So, we saw bulls attempt to break out, but then they couldn't turn the previous area of resistance into support. Price effectively failed, right? Making another wick. Once that candle closed, it closed as like an arrow that's pointing to the downside, right? So if I was to draw the shape that this candle is, it's pointing like that, right? So it's saying, okay, a lot of pressure, failed breakout. We're back under the low. We're back under the high of the previous candle's close. And I have increasing outlier volume. So not only do I have bears defending that move, I have a lot more bears than I've seen recently, and I've got really strong momentum to push. So it's a combination of two factors, right? It's the failed breakout after an extended move to the upside, and then it's the failed breakout confirming at the candle close with that increasing outlier volume. So the red volume, right, is a part of the confirmation process, right? So the setup is the failed breakout above high of day. The confirmation is the candle closing under high of day with that increasing outlier volume. Yeah, makes sense? So it's not that I'm just looking for red volume. I'm looking for red volume once my setup trigger has been established. What else we got? What's next? Yeah, exactly. And then once I have confirmation, I'm looking for an entry, right? I'm looking for a scenario where my risk reward becomes asymmetric and I can find some nice follow through. What's next to your team? What are the questions we got this morning? Or this good goodness. Well, guys, we're 10 minutes in. Surely we have some more questions. So generally my stop loss is going to be the high of my entry candle, right? So if my entry candle was let's just get play, right? If my entry candle here, right, was this one, then my stop loss is 239. This candle, 31, right? If it's this candle, it's 194.75. So it's whatever the high or low is of my entry candle. Basically, if I'm in a position, I don't want to see a lower low, if I'm bullish, right? Or a higher high if I'm bearish. Means I'm wrong or I'm early. Same thing, effectively. So, I'd rather get out, try again potentially, and see if I can get the follow through. I mean, truth be told, BXT, I don't know, right? So I'm playing a game of probabilities, right? I'm playing, uh, yeah, that if I do this 1,000 times, more times than not, it's going to work out. So it's not um like truth be told, the next trade is irrelevant. Like it doesn't matter. It's not really a part of my thinking. I'm optimizing my behavior for the next 1,000 trades, not the next trade. So if I get stopped out if I'm wrong, all right, well, no big deal. Like I've been stopped out a million times. I'm sure I'll get stopped out again. And if I don't like getting stopped out, then I'm not happy with the amount of risk I had on that position. And well, that's a me problem, right? That's my fault. So, um, yeah, I shouldn't ever be afraid to enter a trade. If I am, then my sizing is too big. All right. So an A plus, right? What makes a setup A plus is going to be based on the candle shape, right? And the volume profile. So let's see, tabs open. No, no, we'll just show it examples. So if I was to say, let's get rid of the ORB for a second, just so we see the raw candlesticks, right? If I were to judge, that's a good example. All right, here. So if I were to judge all these candles, right? What this candle, 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 and this candle, right? So from 1104, from 1050 to 1104. If I were just 1 second here, Dave, right? 1 second. Let's slow it down. I'm just trying to show you a visual, okay? So step one, right, to make something A plus is for us to have the right candle shape, right? So an A plus candle would look more like this 1058 candle than this 1052, right? It's got a stronger body. It's giving me that full potential, right? Whereas this green candle, it's pointing down, not pointing up, right? To the downside, you know, this red candle would be less strong than this red candle or this red candle, for example, right? Or this one. So candle shape is ultimately what makes something A plus. If we're looking for an A plus setup, we want our confirmation candle to look like that 1036 or that 1048 or that 11 a.m., right? Or even that 1106, maybe even something like that 1130. If we're going bullish, right? That 1040, that 1046 candle is a good shape, right? That 1058 candle is a good shape, right? That 1136 candle is a good shape. So the shape of the candle, right? When you apply that to your confirmation is ultimately the decider between A plus, B plus, C plus, right? This would be like C plus, and this would be like an A plus. Once we know the candle shape, right, or the confirmation, then we just got to add the volume filter, right, which is increasing outlier, right? So we've got increasing outlier volume and we've got a strong candle shape. Those are the characteristics that make something A plus. The setup trigger, right, which maybe is what you're actually were asking about, is two to the upside, right? Two to the downside, and then reversals. So you're set up to the upside, right? A breakout from inside the opening range to outside the opening range, or a breakout above the opening range through high of day. To the downside, it's a breakout through the low of the opening range or a breakout through low of day. And then your reversal, right, is you have at least some sort of a move happen or a period of time in the market has gone by and then you get a failed breakout right above high of day or a failed breakdown under low of day, and then you close back under those ranges. So then now you have the clear setup criteria definition. Once you've identified the setup definition, then it's about going back to, okay, am I seeing the right candle shape? Am I seeing the right volume profile? Correct candle shape, A plus. Incorrect candle shape, no. Yes? Make sense? Well, an A plus is a binary, right? So, I mean, we just talked about those three tradable candles, right? So this 1040, this 1058, and then something like I don't know, this 1156, right? All of those candle shapes independently are good enough to be A plus. This 1112, no, right? This 1152, no. This 1216, no. So it's just think of like just visualize it as an arrow, right? Is the arrow pointing up or is the arrow pointing down on the candle? If you're bullish, you want the arrow to be pointing up. If you're bearish, you want the arrow to be pointing down. I don't know what you mean by a reversal in our range. I don't know what that means. Yeah, but it's the candle shapes that make something A plus, right? A plus can only happen on confirmation. A reversal is a setup trigger. There's three stages to every trade. It's the setup, the confirmation, and the execution. There's no such thing as an A plus setup. It's only A plus confirmation, right? But when you put it all together, it's just one phrase, right? So there's three parts to the trade. So no, it's not an A plus reversal, right? Stop with that language that is confusing yourself. A reversal setup can only occur when you've had separation away from the opening range, and then you have a failed breakout above high of day or a failed breakout below low of day. Once you've established a setup, then you look for confirmation, and confirmation determines if it's A plus or not, right? The shape of the candle. That can only occur once the candle is closed. You, John, you're confusing it too, right? The reversal has to happen on a failed move through low of day or high of day, right? A reversal cannot trigger until it pierces through high of day or low of day. That is what makes it a setup trigger. So you need the failed move, right? You need the failed breakout. So I'm not reversing, like I'm not playing a reversal if it bounces off of 118.50, right? It's got to give me that failed breakout, failed move from bears, and then the reversal. Yeah, yes. How can it how can it be a reversal in the middle of the range if the setup trigger is a breakout through high of day and a breakout through low of day and a failure to hold those levels? No, you're confusing that, John, right? The setup trigger gives us a reason to enter the trade. We can still enter a trade here or here or here once we have the setup trigger. Guys, these are basics. I'm flabbergasted by this. Like, how many times do we got to say that volume in the middle of a range, in the middle of this blue box? We're not interested. It means nothing. Like, guys, our setups are really simple, right? Breakout from the opening range. Setup number one, right? Setup number two, a breakout past high of day, right? Those are bullish, right? Third one, bullish reversal, failed breakdown through low of day and close above low of day. Bearish setups, breakout from the opening range, low. Bearish setup number two, breakout through low of day. Bearish setup number three, the reversal. failed breakout above high of day, close below high of day. These are 6 things to remember. It's 3 things if you really think about it. This has to be something that we just see, right? Like, it's not complicated. What else do we have here? Dude, my first trade of the day, my win rate's like 53 or 54% across the board, right? So, like, my first trade of the day does not bother me at all. I don't care if it's red or if it's green. I don't care. And like if I start to optimize, skip the first trade of the day, what then becomes the first trade of the day, right? You just start the big brain stuff that isn't big brained. If your objective is like, oh, I think Michael and his trades in his live stream, his first trade and third trade and seventh trade of the day are always red. I don't want to take those trades. Sweet. You do that research yourself, right? I'm not going to do that for you. Guys, we have so much data here, right? So, whatever you want to find, you can find it. It is not difficult. And I think that the pursuit of finding those answers for yourself will answer a lot of your questions along the way. Now, what are the questions we have here? Yes, we just didn't get an opportunity for an entry here. Didn't give us a fake out, right? So this next candle, straight line up right away. We didn't have a chance for an entry. All right, let's stack up a few questions here, please, as we'll kill this one early. Well, what are you trying to ask, John? Give us an example of what you're trying to figure out. Any other questions while we wait here, team? Today I got like 57. You want the hierarchy of confirmation, go into the courses. There's literally a course. What is confirmation using candlesticks to find our A plus setups? In course number 3, scaling in professional trading, chapter 2. And it's a 15-minute video. In the courses on the DTR trading website, course number 3, titled Scaling and Professional Trading, chapter 2, there's a section. What is confirmation? Using candlesticks to find your A plus setup. It is like a 12 to 15-minute long video with diagrams, charts, PDFs, instructions, and a quiz. Guys, everything that I use in my trading, every technique, every possible right answer you are looking for, I have made public at this point, right? There are 600 days of live streams that you can go watch back. There are 20 odd courses, right, that you can go take and answer and fill your heart's desire with. There's probably 100 other auxiliary videos that answer odd job one-off questions. There's close to 600 live trade replays where you can see the trade from start to finish. There's a little bit of everything everywhere. So we should try to take advantage of these things and use them because it will make you a better trader. And relying on someone else to do it for you kind of sucks. A, it's slower, and B, you don't learn it. What else we got here, team? Other questions? $10.34. So I would say that, yeah, probably a little bit too past the setup window, right? So you've had a breakdown here. This is the trade we took. Then it pulled back and then it kind of like drifted, cracked, and then kind of chopped about and stalled all day. So there would be no active setup trigger. And it's not because it's inside the opening range. It's because there is no failed breakout above high of day. As we need to stop confusing confirmation with what a setup trigger is. A setup trigger on a reversal must and can only occur, especially to the downside, after a failed breakout above high of day. Without the failed breakout, it doesn't matter where it is. We need to get this order of operations correct, right? If we are going to continually skip that order of operations, we will just confuse ourselves and miss a tremendous amount of trades. So list them back to me, guys. I mean, how many times we talked about the 6 setups today? List them out. Prove you were listening. Well, you probably have no evidence of trading well on your own. Dave, we've talked about this a ton. You keep doing things that are slowing you down for no reason besides wanting to be busy. Why not stack up some cash, build some confidence, and then expand your horizons? Why have to do it all at once? You're like purposely taking 2 steps forward, 2 steps back every single day, and then wondering why you're stuck in place. Right? If you have no evidence that you're trading outside of those hours is making you any money, why persist in trading after those hours? Guys, the order of operations is 3 steps. It's the setup, it's the confirmation, and it's the execution, right? So the setup is a breakout through high of day. The confirmation is the candlestick and volume closing. And then the execution is where you map out your stop loss and your entry. So why the repetition of questions then? Like I gave you the same answer last week. What nothing if nothing has changed, why bring it up? Or if you're like you're executing that plan, why bring up the old pain? Makes no sense. No. It's the same thing to the upside and to the downside, right? Except the colors are different. I don't know, maybe you need to Bart Simpson it one day and just write out what the setup is, what the confirmation standard is, and what the execution standard is, right? 100 times on a whiteboard, hear it into your head. Or, you just pay attention a couple days on the stream. You track the patterns. You go study your previous trades. Go watch back a few of the replays. You'll figure it out that way too. What else we got here, team? I'd also recommend, right? Like just about all 13 of these group coaching calls have all revolved around the setups, confirmations, and the executions. It is the same 5 questions every single time. right? So, you know, I've probably answered this question or a variety of this question in like 10 different temperaments and ten different vocal styles and in 10 different uses of the English language. So I reckon if you watch those two, you'll probably get a really filtered and complete view that maybe you're looking for. But some point you got to stop trying to just collect theoretical knowledge and put it to use, right? You will learn a lot more things when you take your trading and your studying of your trading seriously. What other questions we have here, team? No, I use the same stop loss location on every single trade. It is always the high or low of my stop loss candle. The more variables I add, the more confused I get. So it's the same thing every single time. I think people are trying to play the wrong game with prop firms. Yes, trying to stack up 20 accounts and trading 5 contracts with each of them. You can have the potential to make a lot of money. Don't make your golden goose in trading to stay stuck trading a simulator forever, right? Prop firms and prop firm accounts are fundamentally a very controlled market. You're controlled on how you can trade. You're controlled on your velocity of payouts. You're controlled on the size you can take. You're controlled on the upside. And you're controlled on the tax benefits that you have from trading it. So instead of thinking, okay, how can I get to 20 prop firm accounts? It should be, how can I use prop firm accounts to fund my own personal funding so that I don't have to deal with any nonsense and can actually get paid. Like if you I'm just gonna be realistic here with you people, right? With everyone here. You people was a terrible phrasing, sorry. Um, let's say that you have a like if you read Market Wizards, right? You'll hear these stories of these traders who have their like once in a career trade where, they made like 3,000 points in 6 hours with their full position, right? And that's the one that like created incredible upside. If you have the trade of your career at a prop firm, it's a real trade of your career, you will not get paid that money, right? Because it would bankrupt their business. So if you want to make sure that you have no bullshit, no stress, no hassles, your money is always yours. The only way to do that is to create, right, a personal fund. And, if you're not going to be holding overnight, you need less leverage than you think. You can fund an account with 4,500 bucks and be able to trade just as many contracts as you could with one 150K account. Yes, John, things are coming. Right now, we're working on just getting the payout system fully automated so that people's payouts are effectively auto approved so that we have the fastest payouts in the industry. Hopefully that will be finished by, next day or two. It'll be stress tested enough where I don't have to micromanage it. And then, yeah, we'll continue to create all the other features that people want. We're constantly trying to push updates, guys. We're constantly trying to do things. But I have to prioritize things in order, right? So there are things that impact people making money or being able to trade, and those are much higher priorities than some other features. Your 150K account, right, that you get with a prop firm is not $150,000 worth of drawdown, right? It's $4,500 worth of drawdown, or however much it is. So, like, you're getting the leverage or the contract sizing as if you had 150K, but like you're trading what, two, three maybe contracts with that size. You need on NQ uh about $100 worth of margin if you're not going to be holding overnight. So effectively, right? You're saying, okay, how many stop losses do I want to take in the same way that you'd be doing with your prop firm? Right? It's the exact same equation, and you trade it exactly the same way. So instead of having uh whatever 150K account, you just have $4,500 of drawdown in the same way that you had $4,500 worth of drawdown on your 150K. And again, team, I'm not trying to discredit people from using prop firms. I think prop firms are a tremendous tool because they allow you to create your proof of concept with much less risk than if you were trying to trade solo by yourself, right? But the goal with prop firms is to not be a synthetic trader forever. It's to use those skills, take them to the free market, and capitalize on that experience. In the same way where you don't want to get stuck paper trading for 18 months, you want to eventually transition to having that skill set. Like I think Marty put a good example there, right? It's almost like just check it off the bucket list, make it a normal part of your trading experience, and you'll have a lot less risk, right? And then if you have a personal account, five prop accounts, your day job income or whatever your retirement income is, or I don't know, you got money coming in from Betfair, whatever. You'll make more than enough money to live a very comfortable life, and you'll remove a lot of your risks. Risk with a prop firm is that you don't get paid or you lose access to your account. Your risk with your personal account that you lose your money. Yeah, I would Google that, John. It's going to be dependent on your specific jurisdiction. You just Google futures brokers, my country. you'll find 1,000 options. Like your goal should be to use your profits to fund your personal trading. I'm sure you can. Every major broker supports futures trading. Do you have any other questions here, team? Or are we just going to be Googling stuff here? All right, we're going to go final call for questions here. Final call for questions. Oh, my pleasure. There won't be any of these next week, right? So Thursday we'll do another one, but then none next week. Like, think about it, Michael, right? I'm sure we've all heard this, but the average millionaire has 7 income sources. You want to be in the top 1%, diversify your risk. And your personal will compound faster than your prop, right? Just fundamentally. Yeah, so I'm taking all of next week off, 4th through the 8th. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Uh Honestly, I would be surprised if you were able to schedule a coaching call for next week. It likely would be on a separate day. I believe I had blocked off my calendar well in advance. You might have a call with Logan or with Eric. So I wouldn't cancel that call. Honestly, I'm not sure. I haven't really looked. I'm doing Sunday through Friday, so I'm not really going to do any partying or anything like that. I'm going to just spend some time in nature, spend some time sleeping, spend some time planning out my business for the next little bit, and hopefully eat some disgustingly good food. Yeah, and it could be with someone else, right? So it could be with Logan or Eric. No, no doubt about it, Marty. All right, everybody. Well, if no further questions, I'm going to kill the stream here for the day. Same deal like always. If you have any questions, hit me up outside of market hours. If you have any unresolved tech issues, if you have any unresolved tech issues, please email backoffice at daytraderfunding.com and we'll do our best to take care of it. All right, guys. Have yourselves a great night. Talk soon.